Let's talk about working on versus in your business and why the former is going to be what really unlocks your growth in the rest of 2025. You are tuning into episode number 307 of Starting the Conversation. I am your host, Alice Benham. Today's topic is something that I am incredibly passionate about. If I had to kind of encapsulate my whole role as a business owner and really what my work exists to do, it's this: helping people to work on their businesses, not just in them. It's a phrase that I've thought about a lot over the last kind of 5-6 years. And some of you might also be familiar with the fact that I have a program called On It, which links with this exact topic. It's actually a program that I've been testing for quite a few years, and it formally launched at the end of last year to a really positive response. There's over 120 business owners in there, and I get the privilege of holding space for them every month to work on their businesses, not just in them. So I'm not sat teaching and telling them stuff, but we're really sat doing the work together. And I thought it might be good to talk today about working on your business, not just in it, because the doors are just about to open to join On It for the rest of this year. On It is a long-term commitment. So for the last 3 months, the doors have been locked. Lots of people have been messaging me with FOMO that didn't join at the end of last year. And so this is an opportunity, if you're ready for that support in your business throughout the rest of 2025, to join us. Doors are not going to be open for long, and there are a very limited number of spaces. So if you want to make sure that you can save a space, then you'll want to be on the wait list. If you're listening to this episode the day that it comes out or the day after, you're just in time. Head to the link in the show notes to join the wait list. And if you're listening to this maybe a few days later, then the doors will be open. So now is the time to go and find out more. And if it feels like what might help your business, save your space. If you're on the fence about On It, or you're kind of like, what is this thing even about? Why should working on my business even be important to me? Then you are in the right place, because this episode is going to be really breaking down not just the difference between working on and in your business, but also why it's important to prioritize both, and what I believe are really the kind of strategies that we need to introduce as the business owner to prioritize working on our businesses. Because whilst it might be a simple concept and many of us know that we need to work on, the doing is much harder, because as I'll discuss in this episode, it's not always easy to make the time to work on your business as well as in it. So this episode, like I said, is not just going to help you understand the concept, but hopefully also make improvements in your business around how you work on. Without further ado, let me begin by just explaining what I see to be the difference between these two things, because we might have heard this phrase before, but I think like many things in business, we can get a little bit kind of actually unclear on what it is that we are talking about. The way I see it is that working in your business is putting on your mode of employee, right? You are working in your business almost as a kind of team member. For you, that might look like delivering your services, creating products, answering emails and inquiries, taking people through the sales process, doing your day-to-day admin, maybe popping a bit of content out there or chatting to people, right? It's all of the things that you've got to do just to keep your business sustaining. Working in your business is of course incredibly key for that reason, right? Working in your business is what is going to keep your business running today. However, working on your business is going to be the work that really helps your business to grow in the long term. So if in your business is about being the employee, on your business is about being the CEO. It's when you're stepping into that role as the leader of your business, which even if you don't see yourself as a CEO, if it's your business, you are the CEO, whether you want to have that title or not, you are the leader of your business. And when you're working on your business, you're stepping into that position. You are doing the big picture work. That might look like casting vision, setting goals, creating strategies, taking action towards your goals, looking at your metrics, tracking progress. On the business tasks are all of those things that might not feel urgent right now, ultimately will change how the business grows and where your business is kind of in the future. The way that I kind of really boil it down is that if you work in the business, your business is going to survive today. And if you work on the business, your business is going to grow next year. So they have two quite kind of different feelings to them. And even then, as I've talked you through kind of what they both are, I think it's quite clear to all of us, right, of the importance of both sides. You know, the in the business work is incredibly key to paying the bills and keeping things going. But where we often struggle as business owners is prioritizing the on the business work. And what I find happens most of the time is that people know that working on the business is important. They know that it's something that they kind of need and want to make time for. But there's a huge amount of overwhelm around what it actually looks like to work on the business. We might go to do it and then just feel like we're sat with a blank piece of paper or an empty laptop screen, not actually knowing where to begin. And even if we know what to do when we're working on our businesses, it's really hard to then make the time and actually do it consistently. So with that in mind, let me introduce you to a little bit of structure around what working on your business can actually look like, because I totally get it, right? You hear someone say, work on your business and make sure that your business is growing. And we go, okay, cool. I'm going to work on my business this afternoon, or I'm going to go to a coffee shop and work on my business. And then you sit there and it's a bit like, okay, cricket noises in the background. What do I do? Like, I don't know where to begin. And I personally split working on your business into 3 different categories. So we've got category 1 is where you're getting clarity. Category 2 is when you're building strategies. And category 3 is where you're taking action. Let me dive into the detail of kind of some of the things that each of those categories might include, because whilst there is no right or wrong when it comes to working on your business, I love structure. I love when I can put things into some boxes to help make it even clearer for myself. Hopefully it does the same for you as well. So that first category of working on your business is anything that's really helping you to get clarity. Clarity is fundamental in business. If we don't have clarity, nothing else is really going to be the right fit. Nothing else is going to click into place. There's no point thinking about our strategies or our goals, let alone our action taking, if the clarity is not there. So when we're getting clarity in working on our business, we might be doing things like casting vision for the long term of the business, thinking about where we want to be, what's important to us. We might be thinking about what we want to be known for, right? The mission of the business. We might be getting into the detail of who we want to help or the journey that we want to take people on. We might be thinking about the values that we have as a business, maybe about the message that's important for us to spread. Getting clarity is not a one-time thing, and it's not something I recommend people just do once and then go, okay, cool, I've done the work on my business of getting clarity. No, it is a constant evolution. So a big part of working on your business is coming back to that clarity and working out how things can get clearer, more refined, because a lot of the time in business, our clarity might evolve, but we don't necessarily know that because we haven't checked back in. So that's kind of the first piece of the puzzle of working on your business, is getting clarity. The second piece of the puzzle when it comes to working on your business leads on from that, which is anything to do with strategies. Now, strategy sounds like such a big word, doesn't it? But really all a strategy is a plan that has an end goal in mind. So if you've already got that clarity on the vision, on where you're going, on what's important to you, that is going to then allow you to build effective strategies. So when working on your business, this might look like checking in with your business model and refining your kind of overall business strategy. It might look like refining your marketing strategy or creating a marketing strategy for how you're going to achieve your goals. It might be a case of looking at setting goals for the next quarter. If you follow the AB method, which is my approach to setting and achieving goals, I talk a lot about quarterly goals. And a big part of that strategy piece in working on your business is goal setting. Because goals are not where we want to be. Goals are the plans that we put in place that's going to get us to where we want to be. So this kind of second category of action within working on your business is incredibly key. But one, I think that it's important we always do through the lens of simplicity. Working on your business is not about spending hours and hours making 50-page PDFs and super complicated plans for the sake of it. It's doing the strategy work to whatever level is going to be useful and, most importantly, actionable. Because the third and final category within working on your business is action. And arguably, this is the one that really makes the growth happen, right? Those first 2 categories, getting clarity, building strategies, those are internal action steps. No one's going to see them. They're not going to grow your business, but they're going to lay the foundation that then allows you to do the third and final thing, which is the implementation. Working on your business also looks like actioning those strategies that you've created. So taking action towards those goals that you've got for the current quarter, or implementing the marketing strategy that you've put in place, or developing that new product or service that's a part of your new business model. It's not just about taking the action here, but it's also about analyzing the progress. Action breeds clarity. I think that's something that a lot of us as business owners are familiar with as a concept, but you only get that clarity if you check in and look at the metrics and reflect. So when you're taking action on your business, it's not just about the action of the doing, but also looking at your action, learning from it, tracking the metrics, all of that fun stuff. So that's kind of how I organize working on your business, is that anytime you're working on, anytime you're in CEO mode, you'll be doing one of those three things. You'll either be getting clarity, building a strategy, or taking action. And I want to now give you a little bit of a kind of cheat sheet of how often I would recommend doing each of those things. Because even though I've maybe now given you a bit more structure, I totally understand there can still be that feeling of overwhelm of like, okay, you've just listed off like 30 things there. Should I be doing those every day, every week? Like, what's right and wrong? And I guess the annoying answer I would give initially is there's no right or wrong. Every business is different. However, I absolutely have kind of recommendations that I can give you that maybe help you to build those habits with the right kind of frequency. So here is what I would recommend. On a quarterly basis, you want to make time to check in with the vision, do that clarity piece, and set refined goals. I love working in quarters. I think it helps the year to feel so much more manageable. I think setting goals or plans for a whole year is often quite counterproductive and not actually useful. I think a 3-month period is really nice. So on a quarterly basis, you want to be spending time checking back in with the vision, checking back in with that big clarity piece of where are we going, what's important to us. It might be that nothing's changed. You might just be reminding yourself of that vision, but sometimes things have been refined and we need to, realize that. And then the other thing you'll want to be doing on a quarterly basis is setting new strategies, i.e. setting new goals. My recommendation is that businesses set goals every quarter, which align with their big vision. That's the process that I follow, not just in my businesses, but with all my clients and in On It as well. And I find that quarterly strategy work allows you to then create plans that are going to last you, 3 months at a time. You don't want to be ripping up and creating new strategies every week or every month, because a strategy needs consistency to work or to not work. And so if you set your strategies, if you set your goals for each 3-month period, it's a really nice amount of time for things to actually be able to succeed and for you to see the right level of consistency in your action. So that's what you want to be doing on a quarterly basis. Check in with the vision, set new goals. On a monthly basis, what I would then recommend that you do is to check in on your progress and to look at the metrics. And when I say metrics, I don't just mean how much money you've made or how many Instagram followers you've got. I mean like all of the data, both quantitative and qualitative. On a monthly basis, you should have a habit of working on your business where you step back, look at the progress, and figure out what you can learn from it. Action breeds clarity, as I've already said, but we only get the clarity if we actually pause to pick up the lessons. So having a habit each month where you look at the numbers, where you reflect on your action, where you look at any experiments that you've done in the last month and you work out the learnings is so incredibly key. We do this every single month in On It. I have a framework called Monthly Gems, which is basically where we pick up the gems each month, and each letter of gems stands for something different. So it's nice and structured and easy to do. And it's amazing just how much value comes from actually picking up those lessons and reflecting. What you also want to do on a monthly basis is check in on your progress and set action steps for the following month. Goals are great, but they only get achieved if we regularly bring them back to the front of our minds. So you also want to build a habit each month of looking at your goals, looking at your strategies and going, right, how are we doing? What progress did we make? What progress is still to be made? What do we need to do next to achieve those goals or to put those strategies into place? So that's your monthly habits. And then your daily habits is all about that favorite word of mine, action. On a daily basis, you do not want to be thinking about the big vision. You do not want to be creating new strategies and goals. You simply want to have your blinkers on and be focused on that external action on your business. Not action around, replying to emails or scrolling on social media, but action that is aligned with that vision and with those strategies that you've created. Obviously, this action is going to look completely different depending on what your goals are and what's important to you, but it's so important that we have this final habit in place. So what I've just walked you through there is basically your own little tick list of what working on your business can look like. I'm not going to say that that's an exhaustive list, but knowing a lot of businesses at a lot of different stages of growth, I believe that those 3 habits, that quarterly habit, that monthly habit, and that daily habit added together is really what creates that effective on the business work. We've got to think about creating structure for ourselves. Otherwise, on the business work feels really vague. And when something's vague, it's not actioned. So if we can make it specific, if we can make sure that we're really clear, right, what am I asking of myself when I'm in CEO mode? What am I actually trying to do in this time? It's then so much easier to actually do those things and then to see the results. When we work on the business consistently, when we're doing those various things at those various time points that I just talked you through, so many things in your business feel better. You feel more clear as the business owner. You've got more clarity around where you're going and what's important to you. You're then able to take action and make decisions much more confidently. You feel really connected to your business, to the why behind it, to what's important to you. You show up, I think, better when you're regularly working on your business because you're more of a leader in your business. And ultimately, of course, the big benefit of working on your business is growth. Doing those sets of habits regularly and consistently ensures that your business is going where you want it to. If you don't work on your business regularly, you might not see the impact of that now, but you will definitely notice it when in 6 months, a year's, 2 years' time, your business hasn't grown how you want it to. Businesses are brilliant at just naturally evolving and, snowballing in different directions. But if you know where you're wanting your business to move to, if you know what's important to you, it's going to be working on your business consistently that really helps you to guide it there. When you're working on your business, you're really stepping into that role of leadership and going, right, I'm going to lead my growth. I decide where this ship is sailing, and I'm also going to put in the work to sail in that direction. So with that in mind, where I want to kind of end today's episode is with 3 tips. I feel like tips is kind of like underselling these 3 things, like 3, shifts that I think are really fundamental in helping you to do this consistently. Because it's all well and good, I've just talked you through what you need to be doing when, and you might leave this episode feeling fired up and motivated and naturally energized to work on your business. But let me just be honest for a minute, that feeling is not going to last. As I've already said, working on your business is really hard to prioritize. No one asks you to do it. Quite frankly, no one else cares, right? No one emails you saying, hey, have you set your goals for this quarter? Or, hey, if you achieve that goal, I'm going to give you some money. Like, that just doesn't happen, right? Working in your business has such a clear feedback loop. We get instant results. People want it from us. We get dopamine. Working on your business is just completely different in that sense. So we have got to set ourselves up for success and really help ourselves to work on our businesses consistently. And in my experience, having helped a lot of people to make a habit of this, there are 3 things that I think really make the difference here. And it might be that all of these things resonate with you, or it might be that you hear one of them and go, oh my gosh, that's really the thing that I need to keep in mind. So listen out for what you feel is going to help you best. But the first thing I want to start with is that working on your business consistently really begins with mindset. Now, I am a strategist. I do a lot of work around practical stuff, right? Let's get clarity. Let's build strategies. Let's take action. That's my big thing is, doing the work. But I will never underplay what a big role your mindset has in you taking action and doing the work. It can be a bit chicken and egg, I find, with working on your business, where people are kind of like, well, once I'm working on my business, then I'll see myself as a leader in my business. Then I'll feel like I run a business. Then I'll feel like I'm in charge. And you can't see it that way around, because if you think that when you work on your business, you're going to think that way, you're never going to work on your business. In order to work on your business consistently, you have to step into a mindset of being a business owner. And I know that might sound quite simple or quite obvious. The amount of people I know that don't even think of themselves as a business owner when they are a business owner is wild. And it's not just wild because it's not true, it's wild because it's hurting their growth. If you see yourself as a leader in your business, you're going to show up as a leader in your business. Now, I'm not expecting that the second I'm saying this, there's going to be a complete, brain transplant for you, an identity shift, and everything's going to be seen for you that way. I think it's a gradual shift. You almost, I think, have to slightly fake it till you make it, of going, right now I don't really feel like a CEO, but I'm going to need to see myself as the CEO of my business to start showing up like one, to then really feel like I am one. So that is where I recommend everyone begins. If you are not yet even seeing yourself as a leader in your business, if you do not realize the control that you have to grow your business, if you do not see yourself as that leader of your growth, that's where we need to begin. So whatever the action step for you is there, maybe it's thinking about calling yourself a business owner. Maybe it's just watching out for where you might think to yourself, oh, I'm just making this up, or I'm not very good at this, or I don't know what I'm doing. No. Where's that voice in your head that does say, we're in charge, we're a business owner, we've got this? Tune into that, because it's going to be that mindset that really helps you to prioritize this part of your role. The second thing I would say is then around making the time. Now, I did not say finding time. I said making time, because I get it. We all have limited time. That is a universal challenge. There are over 120 people in the On It program. Every single one of them has the challenge of a lack of time. So there's no use in us sat here going, I haven't got time, so that's why I can't do it. We've got to think about how we make the time. Now, obviously, one of the biggest things here that helps us to make the time is to know what we're actually making the time for, which is why in this episode I've shared with you, what you should be doing quarterly, monthly, and daily, so that you're not just setting aside loads of time that you don't need or not knowing how much time you need, but you can actually start to be more tangible with it, because you've got to carve this out in your schedule. You've got to have prioritization of when this is going to get done, because if there's no plan for when it's going to get done, it's probably not going to get done. Can we just be honest about that for a second? Maybe sometimes you do it because you're excited to, or someone has nudged you to do it, but let's be real, most of the year you're not going to feel that motivated to work on your business. I can say that as someone who teaches this stuff all the time, preaches it even. I still have to, make the time for it to really happen, because all of the reasons I've shared many times already in this episode, right? You're not always motivated to do it. No one asks you to do it. You don't get paid to do it. It doesn't feel urgent. So you've got to look in your schedule about how and when you can be making the time for this on a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis. The joy of being in On It, if you're with us or you're going to join us, is that the first Monday of every month in the morning is just that non-negotiable time. People don't have to fight to prioritize it by themselves. They've just got to show up to the call and everything's good to go. And then the third and final thing that I'm going to share today that I think is incredibly key in working on your business consistently is self-discipline and patience. Two things that I don't think we always love to hear as a business owner that is going to be needed, but we're probably all familiar, are two things that are really key to growth. At the end of the day, working on your business is not going to give you that sense of instant gratification, at least not most of the time. And a lot of the time with working on your business, the feedback loop can take a little bit of a while to kind of come around. Think about it. If you're setting a quarterly goal, you may not see that goal achieved until 2 to 3 months past setting it. So you won't have for a long time that sense of dopamine, that sense of like, yes, okay, I took the action and it worked, in the same way that you might with some of the work in your business. So you've got to be aware of that and know that your brain is therefore not going to be that inclined to do this stuff. So the two things that I think about here is, first of all, how do we exercise self-discipline when we see that our on the business work is coming up in our diary, when we know that it's something that we need to do? How do we maybe step out of that space of thinking about what we want to do and more just doing what we know is best for us? It's that classic thing, isn't it? Of growth happens when you do what is best for the future you, maybe not what you want in the current state. I think that's very true for working on your business. Can I just say fully honestly, I never want to look at my metrics. I never want to track my finances. I never want to analyze my results, but I know that doing it is really helpful for me. I've seen the evidence in the past of when I've done that, it's helped my business grow. It's helped me as a business owner. So I just do it. Sometimes that's how I might feel about getting outside for a walk or going to the gym or whatever it might be. It's those things that you don't always feel like you want in the moment, but you kind of know deep down is right for you in the longer term. So the first piece of this is self-discipline. And then the second piece, I think, is also patience. We can exercise the self-discipline to do the thing, but we've also got to be mindful of the way that we are patient about the results. Sometimes we will get that instant feedback loop of maybe we feel instantly better having worked on our businesses, and that's great. We've got to look out for where we do have that immediate result come back and get that evidence. But in terms of kind of external growth, it can take time. I look back at some of the habits that I built early on in my business of maybe tracking my finances, and it took a good few months for me to start to see the results, see the positive impact of being so aware of my finances. I had to remind myself in that kind of waiting period, this is worth it. Might just take a bit longer to see the result, but it doesn't mean it's not worth it. So patience, I think, is also really key here. And I think a big part of that is trusting the process. the things that I've shared in this episode are structures and kind of learnings that I have from years and years of observing successful businesses. And I'm really careful about only sharing things from that perspective, because I want to be confident that I'm saying things to you that I'm pretty confident, like, no, if you do this, it is actually going to make change. It is actually going to get results, because you as the business owner have to trust that advice, right? And you've got to trust it to put in consistency to then actually end up seeing any kind of impact from that. So my final thing to say here is just that self-discipline and that patience is incredibly key as well. So in summary, I feel like this has been a little bit of a lecture about what is working on your business, why is it important, why is it hard to prioritize, what does it look like on a regular basis, and how do you prioritize it. I really hope there have been some things in this episode that have resonated with you. Maybe as a next step, you want to think about how you can have that to-do list for yourself of working on your business each quarter, each month, and each day. You can steal that from me for permission to do so as your own little kind of to-do list to make sure that you're working on your business in an effective way and not, missing anything that's key. And you might also want to think about, right, how could you help yourself to prioritize this? What is in that for you in terms of the mindset to step into, making time in your schedule, and also having that self-discipline and patience? Of course, if you're sat thinking, this is really resonating, but oh my gosh, I don't really want to have to do all of this for and by myself, let me tell you that is exactly why On It exists. On It is basically like a personal trainer, but for your business growth. It's all of the stuff that you probably could do for and by yourself, but if you want to, you can do it in a space where you're following expert guidance, so there's no guesswork, you're not going to do it wrong, and you know that you're going to make the time, because it's this live space every single month where if you show up, I'll give you the structure that you need to really do this work and see the impact from it. If you're interested in joining us, you can join the waitlist or sign up, depending on when you're listening to this, via the link in the show notes. If you are somehow tuning into this after doors have closed, then sorry, but they are not going to be opened again for another 3 months. So maybe think about helping yourself in Q2 to do this for and by yourself. But it's not rocket science. Working on your business doesn't have to be complicated. It's totally understandable that for many of us, it's a really hard thing to prioritize and do consistently. So hopefully there's some things in this episode that you can take away to help build that habit more consistently within your business. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. Ready for another episode out next Tuesday. Bye.